Hey folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestryslands.com. So I I'm part of a men's group and I'll talk to people about, especially young men. I'm part of a men's group that meets every Sunday and money mindset group. Everybody who knows about that, shout out to you guys. And one of the things I hear about with young guys it is around planning. Okay. Um, some people are short-term planners, some people really concentrate on mid and long term. And a lot of people get stuck with, well, what if my long-term plan doesn't work out? What if I'm planning, let's say, to buy a house? Okay. You want to buy a house in 5 years because you're saving. And then, well, what if I don't hit that goal? And and then sometimes what happens is people divert away from continuing that long-term plan because they feel that because it's not going to hit at that exact date, that exact moment, or in the case of 2020, like the events of the pandemic and things like that, something's going to derail me from my plan. And the problem with that is that when you practice planning, you understand that plans are not finite. Plans are not, you're going to get to the goal at the exact date, at the exact time, at the exact moment when you got the exact haircut, the exact lineup, the exact right amount of body fat. You have to make adjustments because, and conversely, when I ask this question to young men, I want to ask you all, well, what happens if you get to your plan sooner because you're planning? Do you take the same adjustment of, if I succeed in my goal much earlier than I expected, do I throw away long-term planning now, or do I commit to it? So when I ask that question and guys kind of go, well, yeah, in that case, I would still continue a long-term plan. Well, if you have a 5-year plan and you do it in 4, was the 5-year plan wrong? Or did you just have enough momentum because you were consistent, because you were doing the things? And then what you ended up having was some wind at your back, and a few things happened to accelerate your goals. If it happens a day earlier, is it a successful plan? And when you ask those questions, people start to kind of maneuver and position themselves. They kind of understand that they're not buying into planning. They're buying into whether or not the outcome is in the high likelihood of actually happening without being fully committed. And that's not planning. That's not having a plan. That is you having conditions by which you can stick to something, which is not a plan. It has no committed. It has no evaluation. It doesn't require anything from you to sacrifice or to continuously build or make adjustments. And that'll bring me to my next part. Plans are meant to be adjusted along the way. I think even Barack Obama said that a long time ago. They asked him, well, things don't work out. And he says, well, plans are meant to be adjusted. Plans are meant to be sometimes even thrown away and created a new plan, because sometimes the plan that got you to a point, it doesn't get you to the next point, but you couldn't have got to this midway point had you not had the data or the plan in place to show, hey, this is going to be a different part of it. I mean, heck, going out to sea is not the same as being, in the middle of the ocean. There is getting away from land where the waters are different. And then there is getting into the middle of the ocean where now you have storms that come from you at different places. It's a completely different modality that you're in. And that requires you to prepare for different phases of your journey. When you're traveling, like I've traveled across state in a car, going through each state, you go through different weather patterns. The middle of the state has a different weather pattern. It's flatter in the middle of the country. It's not as hilly as it is on the east and west coast, or even mountainous in some areas. When you go through different states, you will see different levels of terrain, different levels of altitude. So sometimes when you are planning a long journey, you have to account for different points of your trip. Gas is going to be cheaper in some states. So you can't budget on gas being one price in every place that you go. You got to make adjustments because gas might be more expensive, especially when you get to the coast. So you make adjustments, but that adjustment, what you're learning is to be adaptable. And adaptability is the one thing that makes you successful overall, in combination when you have a plan in place. Because what happens is the people are missing is when you practice long-term planning instead of short-term planning. And the reason why I say that it's not that short-term planning is bad is that most people hide or shied away from long-term planning, because long-term planning requires you to have one, discipline and confidence, but there's a difference between confidence and discipline. And when you're planning certain things, you have a confidence, I'm going to get a house in 5 years, but the discipline that is required to be able to execute day after day, day after day, that requires discipline. It's something that is required much differently than the confidence to start the journey, as opposed to discipline to stay on the road when the weather's bad. And most people lack that fortitude. Because again, they want to be able to see the mountain as they walk, and once they leave the castle, they want to always be able to see the mountain they're headed to. Lose that vision, now you have to rely on your compass and your way to circumnavigate your journey. And that's where people they don't know. Now they're in the dark woods, they can't see anything, but they're not using I know I'm going in the right direction. I got to have faith and discipline to stay on my path. But because I can't see the mountain, that is not a reason for me to divert or deviate away from my direction and heading in life. So you see people jump off, quit, because right now the data doesn't fit, or the data is not in favor of where I'm going. But if I plan, I would know that I would get to this point in life. I would get to this point in my journey where I would not be able to see. I would not have my heading. That's why I brought my compass, because I planned for this part of the journey. Which means I am no longer looking at the mountaintop for direction. I am now looking at another area, an adjustment. I'm looking at a different mode of knowing my heading is correct. And a lot of people will not do that. So young men, I tell you guys all the time, man, the channel is about not just mindset, but addressing issues that I'm in groups and I hear young men talk about. Long-term planning is not a bad thing. What you need to do is have more than just the confidence to start. You need the discipline to continue. And if you do not have the discipline to continue, then your confidence is really just inflated flattery of your ego that is leading you down a road that you do not have the tools, the mindset to really obtain. And until you address that, you really will not be able to get far on your journey. You will experience a series of defeat until you address that central issue. You're going to have to buckle down and actually do the work. You're going to have to buckle down and take some time out from Netflix, gaming, YouTubing, IG, watching women, whatever you're doing. And you're going to have to dedicate some part of your time of your life towards your plan, in the planning process, in the evaluation process of that plan, into the implementation. If you got to work a little extra, you got to take some time out. I got to work one extra shift, or I got to put in 2 extra hours of work. I got to take on a side hustle. I've got to do certain things to hit certain markers to continue on my path. But what people tend to do, and I'm going to close it out with this, they want to put half-ass effort in to get a full-time result. They want to put a half-ass effort halfway. They want to do a 60, 70% with the effort that requires 100% of effort, and they want to get 100% of results. So that when they look at it, their plan only came to fruition about 70%, but didn't go all the way. They look at it, they never look at, I did 70% and I got out equal to what my input got equal to my output. They always claim that it didn't work out because of some XY variable, when realistically, you bullshitted your way through the plan and you never gave it your full attention. So again, men, dedicate yourself to discipline, not your confidence. Confidence is great, but the discipline is what you need, because there are going to be days, man. I've had family members not support me. I've had family members not support me when I was at 50, 60, 70, 80, even 100,000 subscribers. So I'm going to tell you, keep planning and stay disciplined. Bill Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Don't forget about my book. The description, the link will be in the description section below. Getting Dollars from Dirt. It is a mindset shift, understanding real estate overall. Something you should go ahead and go buy for sure. The link's on description section below, and it's on Amazon for your purchase. Getting Dollars from Dirt, written by yours truly, Bill Davis. Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Go get yourself some property before you are owned as property. Bill Davis signing off, and I'm out. Peace.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Philip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting dollars from dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.